Um, and you're not going to believe it when you hear this. I'm going to read a significant portion. It's a very short article. The article is titled, "The IMF Calls for Credit Score to be Tied to Internet Search History." And here we go. In a blog post courtesy of the International Monetary Fraud Fund, IMF researchers Arnaud Bu, Peter Hoffman, Luc Levin, and Lev Ratnovsky called for internet search history to be tied to the credit score. Presenting their findings from a paper they wrote, the researchers argue that by using non-financial data, specifically, quote, the history of online searches and purchases, unquote, we can solve the problem of, quote, certain kinds of people not having enough hard data, income, employment time, assets, and debts available, unquote. In other words, they're trying to shut down people that want their privacy. Continuing, the authors of the piece claim that this move is a necessary innovation in order to compete with the rise of corporate cryptocurrencies, such as the one in development by Facebook, who hope to launch next year. While Facebook is a monopoly that is engaged in political censorship, their power pales in comparison to that of the IMF. The International Monetary Fraud Fund is a veritable superpower with ties to the World Bank, and they oversee the entire global economy. It should go without saying that giving this organization the power to track everyone's search history can lead to some dark ramifications. With private banks, notably JP Morgan and Chase Bank, already kicking conservatives off of their services, one can only imagine how much this would escalate with the IMF tracking everyone's search history. While there has been bipartisan opposition to the Chinese social credit system in Congress, the distinctions between that system and what the IMF is pushing for remains ill-defined, unquote. Now, let me stop there and just say, duh. Folks, this is absolutely draconian because I've been warning, Catherine Austin Fitts has been warning, other people have been warning about this attempt to tie cryptocurrencies and get everybody on a digital currency. And Catherine has been warning that, folks, this is a corporate coupon. They can go in and adjust your credit score, your money, depending on how good or bad you are. And that's manifest on the websites that you search and visit. Like, for example, this one. Okay. So, you folks know that I'm absolutely 100% opposed to cryptocurrencies or any system that removes a physical medium of exchange from people's hands, because it's that physical medium of exchange that protects your anonymity, your privacy, and is a certain sort of safeguard against them simply automatically adjusting the value of accounts depending on your social credit score. So in other words, they are trying to lock the world down into, let's just call it what it is, a beast system. Now, there is a citation of the actual paper in this short article, and I want to read a couple paragraphs from here just to give you the flavor of the doublespeak that these central banksters are using. And it's in a little box that they actually copy and paste in this article. So here we go. Quote, the second and most complex problem is that certain kinds of people, like new entrepreneurs, innovators, and many informal workers, might not have enough hard data available. Well, isn't that a shame? They want to make sure that those people have a fair shot now. Even a well-paid expatriate moving to the United States can be caught in the conundrum of not getting a credit card for lack of a credit record, and not having a credit card pardon me, and not having a credit record for lack of credit cards. In other words, the vicious cycle. FinTech resolves the dilemma by tapping various non-financial data, the type of browser and hardware used to access the internet, the history of online searches and purchases, recent research documents that once powered by artificial intelligence and machine learning. These alternative data sources are often superior than traditional credit assessment methods and can advance financial inclusion by, for example, enabling more credit to informal workers and households and firms in rural areas. Now, folks, let me stop again. They're going to push this out, in other words, as being beneficial to people at the lower end of the economic ladder and as being beneficial to them. And of course, this is the way they always sell things, is by appealing to people's good nature. But you'll notice that the other thing they're going after here are quote unquote rural areas. Think the family farm. Okay. So in other words, they're going to wrap this social credit system with its long tentacles right around the food supply. So be good little boys and girls, and we'll let you farm and we'll let you eat. Folks, these people are out of control. They're mad, they're insane, and they're anti-human. Anyway, to round this out, meanwhile, the head of the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva, has publicly advocated for the Great Reset Initiative, notably in a speech to members of the royal family over the summer. The Great Initiative Reset is a plan by the World Economic Forum, otherwise known as SPECTRE, to, in their words, quote, build a new social contract that honors the dignity of every human being, unquote, except, of course, the unborn. Here's one hypothetical scenario proposed by a World Economic Forum contributor for what life may look like after a great reset. And then, of course, they go on to mention the Build Back Better slogan. Now, the article ends with this note. Joe Biden has also promised he will establish a task force to combat online extremism. Given Biden's ties to groups such as the International Monetary Fraud and the World Economic Fraud, this could be a cause for concern. A Democratic president and an anti-conservative banking institution using big tech to monitor people's search history isn't the most comforting idea, to say the least, unquote. No, it's not. It's a beast system to compel you into obedience to their ideology. So, folks, we're coming up to the point where all of us are going to have to make some hard and fast choices. Unfortunately, I know where the bulk of humanity is going to go. But I hope and pray that there are still some that will see this for what it is, a bare, naked power grab on the part of the extremely wealthy who have absolutely not a human shred of compassion or decency in their brains or bodies. We are but cattle and machines to them, so perhaps it's time we start treating them like cattle and machines back. This is absolutely draconian. This is going to be a corporate coupon. This is going to be communist China on steroids. And it's not called a beast system for nothing, because ultimately what they want to do is they want to get rid of God. And it's coming, folks. So anyway, it's a communitarian ideology. Thank you. That was an observation that was just made in the chat room by, it's scrolling so fast now I can't even read. But you're right, Pedro. It is a communitarian, and it's a collectivist mentality. This is the grand synarchist goal of wedding the worst excesses of capitalism and the worst excesses of progressivism, collectivism, communism, socialism, whatever you want to call it, fascism. It's basically fascism, folks. So anyway, don't forget that there is no vid chat tomorrow. The Fireside vid chat has already been posted, minus the video, of course. So for those